Hey, it's Susan Pierce Thompson, and I have a treat for you. This is our first ever goal weight gallery. And these are individuals who have done Bright Line Eating and lost all their excess weight in 2015 and gotten down all the way to goal weight. And it's not all of those individuals, it's just a small subset of them. Here are 16 individuals who have had amazing transformations in 2015. I hope you enjoy our first ever goal weight gallery.
We're going to start our tour of Bright Line Eating transformations from the very first boot camp that we held, which actually started at the end of 2014. This is Tracy Stroh. She's 51 years old. She started at 181 pounds, and she's 5'2", so she was in a women's size 18 then. After a year, she finally arrived at her goal weight of 125 pounds and is now wearing a size 6. Look at her in that dress. I swear I want to put her on the red carpet. In her own words, this is what her transformation has meant to her. She says, "What I get from this way of eating is a tremendous amount of energy and freedom from the foods that are around daily because healthy eating is now so automatic. I can fit in smaller places now and my mobility is so much better. I climb stairs easily, I'm not winded, my knees don't hurt, and I can get up from the floor easily and bend well too. I'm so much happier. I'm not afraid to approach strangers like I used to be when I was afraid they'd judge me as a fat, lazy person. Now as a slender woman, I have so much more confidence. I have inspired many people around me this year to want to get healthy. I got to become a better version of myself in 2015 thanks to Bright Line Eating." Congratulations, Teresa. And our next transformation is Jillian Appleton. This was Jillian at age 26, weighing 244 pounds and wearing a size 22. She also started the very first boot camp and began her transformation back in November of 2014. Now, 13 months later, she's lost 104 pounds and wears a size 6. She says that her blood work is now so stellar that the last time they drew her blood, they had to redo it to make sure it wasn't a mistake because it was so impeccable. And in her own words, she says, "Bright Line Eating has helped me to learn to respect my body, to break addictive patterns, and to gain clarity around what kinds of foods my body needs. I'm getting married next spring, and I'm so looking forward to enjoying our wedding day happy, thin, and free." Oh, so excited for you, Jillian. Our third transformation is Lyndon Morris Del Rio. Now, Lyndon doesn't have any pictures of herself at her heaviest, and this is actually quite a common thing. She says she was horrified by the thought of pictures. She couldn't face taking a good before picture, and she so regrets it now. This picture here is of her 20 pounds below her highest weight. Her highest weight was at 188.6, which was what she weighed when she started the boot camp. And so don't make the mistake Lyndon makes. If you start a Bright Line Eating transformation at your heaviest, be sure to take some good before pictures. And now she weighs 126 pounds, and she's our resident Bright Line Eating fashionista. I love these pictures of her, these selfies she takes in her gorgeous outfits. And I talked with Lyndon earlier tonight, and I asked her what her transformation has meant to her, and this is what she said. I took notes as she was talking, and she said, "Everything's the same, and everything's different. It's crazy. It's just so different. I'm not bogged down by the food fog anymore. It's just not there. When you're wandering around in a chubby, fat body, it's all about getting some rest, getting some more food. Life was pretty non-productive. I'm way more productive now. There's just no barriers anymore. Late-night food comas used to be my specialty. No more. People don't recognize me anymore. I'm now looking to start traveling all over the world and doing what I really want to do. I'm doing things I always aspired to do. Everything's within reach. I can feel the breeze caressing me, the breeze of living my dreams. It's all around me. It's pretty weighty stuff. And that weight thing that was going on for me my whole life, it's over. It took up a lot of space, and now it's over. I just know it's over. That's so huge. There's just no words for it. There's a lot of freedom now, a lot of freedom." Brilliant, Lyndon, brilliant. Our next transformation is Miss Linda Hahn. She started March 1st, 2015 in boot camp number 2, and her starting weight was 212 pounds. And now she weighs 131 pounds, and what she says is, "I'm lighter, freer, so much healthier. All the scans for cancer are clear. I love my food. I look forward to my next pre-committed meal without wanting anything else. I'm amazed at my transformation. I feel 20 years younger. Thanks is not enough. And then she wrote in again with more data, and she said, I just finished the last survey, and I was totally shocked by my measurements. I had my husband retake them because I thought something was wrong. Here are my measurements. My neck used to be 15 inches, now it's 12. My bust used to be 46 inches, now it's 37. My waist used to be 43 inches, now it's 29. My hips used to be 48 inches, now they're 36. I'm still in shock. If it works out correctly, that's 38 inches overall. It sort of makes it real for me now. I was actually shaking when I was writing down these measurements down on the survey for fear that I was wrong. And my husband says, I'm not wrong, and I should take a deep breath and believe that I've actually done this. It's time for a cup of herbal tea is what I say. Oh, brilliant, Linda. Thank you so much. Nathan Dinkins started boot camp number 2. His highest weight was 235 pounds. That was when he ate the standard American diet. He then got some scary blood work results, and he decided to go vegan, but there was a lot of junk food in that vegan diet that he was doing, and then he started migrating more towards a whole food plant-based diet. But no matter what he did, he always ended up bouncing back to 205 pounds. So all of these before pictures that you see of him, these are him at 205 pounds. He started Bright Line Eating at 205 pounds. What changed for him with Bright Line Eating was he discovered that it's all about addiction. It's not just, here I am again eating this stuff I shouldn't be eating. It's about food addiction. He used to think that gaining weight as you got older was inevitable, but through Bright Line Eating, he learned that it's not at all inevitable. He also learned that genes don't matter nearly as much as he thought. He thought his genes were writing his destiny, and now, at 155 pounds, maintaining since July, he knows that he controls his destiny with food. I also want to say thank you to Nat because he's playing an instrumental role in our Bright Line Eating research project, and he's on the board with me of the Institute for Sustainable Weight Loss, our 501c3 corporation, our nonprofit foundation that's dedicated to uncovering the secrets of sustainable weight loss in the world. So thank you so much, Nat, and congratulations. Congratulations on your massive 50-pound weight loss and your huge health. It's beautiful. This is Jan Deutsch at 333 pounds. 333 pounds. Look at her losing her weight. This is Jan Deutsch as she started Bright Line Eating. Jan was one of our many boot campers who came to us mid-transformation. So just as Nat Denkin had lost some weight before he got to Bright Line Eating, so had Jan Deutsch. She'd been told by a doctor to stop eating sugar. Actually, some of the Bright Lines were already in place for her when she started Bright Line Eating, but she couldn't lose all her weight. She was plateaued. She couldn't figure out how to get the rest of the way there. So she started Bright Line Eating. Now, look at her. Oh my goodness, look at Jan Deutsch. I think she's now 141 pounds. Unbelievable. I want to give you her transformation in her own words because it's so powerful. I think when folks come from bigger numbers, there's things that they want to remember about that. And here's what Jan says. I want to remember how my knees ached and my back hurt carrying around the 192 pounds that I've lost. I never want to forget. I want to remember the acid indigestion from overdosing on sugary foods. I want to remember the nausea from eating too many of those fatty, crispy snacks. I want to remember the wheezing from trying to walk with my children and grandchildren. I want to remember having to use a CPAP for sleep apnea because I'd stopped breathing with my fat choking me. I want to remember that big stomach that was in the way and I couldn't tie my shoes. I want to remember the 35 plus years of psychotherapy I engaged in to try to figure out why I kept overeating. When I dieted on 500 calories a day for more than a year, I felt suicidal. I must remember how despairing I was when I went on diet after diet and I'd lose the same weight and then regain that and more. I remember the shame I felt when I went to business events in size 24 clothes and all the other women were in size 8 suits. I must remember the times I missed out on fun things like kayaking or bike riding because my body hurt and it rebelled at the extra weight I was asking it to carry. I remember worrying if I had to sit in someone's antique chair, I was so afraid it might break. I remember covering up at summer or poolside events because I was so ashamed of my body. Thank goodness that's all behind me now, and I'm grateful every day. I don't take my Bright Line Eating transformation for granted. I'm working hard to make my Bright Line Eating neural grooves as deep and strong as the ones that I laid down for so many years before I found this program. With grace and wonderful Bright Line Eating support, I will be happy, thin, and free forever. And this is Susan Mast. She started in boot camp 2. She's done 3 boot camps. She's a Bright Lifer. She started at 148.5 pounds and is now 107.5 pounds. And she says, I've gone from a size 16 and extra large to a petite size 4. Most of all, I've gained tremendous insights that have changed my life. First and foremost, it's not about the food or the weight or the scale. It's about getting free from food addiction and giving back, doing service, and shoring up others when they need it. That's for me the greatest Bright Line Eating gift. I feel peace around food and know that although there are challenges, I will stay happy, thin, and free for the remainder of my life. Good for you, Susan Mast. Blessings. Now, Peter Von York. This is Peter Von York as a 2-year-old, and Peter has such a wit about him. I was thinking, why is he sending this picture of him as a little kid? And then I realized, oh my gosh, he wants me to see that at age 2 he already had a beer belly. It felt like a little wink through the ether from Peter. And this is Peter at age 30, weighing 300 pounds. Then Peter in his late 50s, before he started Bright Line Eating, weighing 210 pounds. So he was able to get out of the 300s, but he couldn't seem to crack the 200s. And he writes, I have never been a normal weight as an adult. And now at 150 pounds, I'm at my lightest weight ever. I will be 60 years old in a couple of weeks and feel like finally, after so many decades of futile struggling, I have come across a method that will allow me to preserve my health for years to come. Thank you for sharing your story, Peter, and your huge heart and your wicked wit in our online support community. I want you to know, Peter, you have sparked thousands of smiles this year. Thank you so much. All right, our next transformation is Lynn Colston, and Lynn also does not have a picture of herself at her top weight, but she blessed us with this picture of herself standing inside of one leg of her old pants. Lynn writes, I'm 5 foot 2 inches tall and 64 years old. At my heaviest, I weighed over 250 pounds. It was at that point that I stopped weighing myself, and I stopped allowing pictures of me to be taken, ever. For the past 35 years, I've gained and lost and gained and lost and tried every diet and always gained the weight back. Eventually, my knees hurt so badly that I couldn't get down the stairs. My husband had to bring food up to me so I could eat. It was humiliating and painful. I lost some weight by other methods, and I was glad, but I was still perpetually embarrassed by the apron of fat around my waist. I thought about my excess weight all the time. Then on February 18th, 2015, I found Bright Line Eating. That apron around my waist is gone. I'm now a comfortable size 0 and weigh between 100 and 105 pounds, and I'm beginning to realize that I can finally trust that I will keep this weight off. There is a formula, and it works. In a few days, I'm running my first marathon with my sister-in-law at Walt Disney World. I cannot express how much Bright Line Eating means to me. All my life, I've been filled with self-loathing. Bright Line Eating is teaching me to accept and celebrate myself. And surprisingly, it's not because I'm thin. That's great. But it's because of this loving and supportive community and all that I'm learning about myself. I know this is being said over and over, but it's true for me too. Bright Line Eating saved my life. All right, our next transformation is Tracy Stroh. She started Bright Line Eating at 196.6 pounds. Her initial goal weight was 135 pounds, and so at 133.8 pounds, she posted these pictures in the online support community, but she kept going, and today she weighs 124 pounds. And she wrote when she posted, "Hey everyone, I'm so scared to post these before and after photos. It almost makes me cry to see these two different versions of myself, two very different personalities right next to each other. I will never go back to that sad, depressed, unhappy person again. I am a Bright Line Eating lifer for sure. I feel amazing having achieved goal weight. Let the dance of maintenance begin. Thank you, Bright Line Eating, for changing my life. Everyone in this precious online support community is truly an inspiration to me." Tracy stands out to me personally because I was working very closely with her, and her chronic unhappiness was really distressing to me. And so I had her do an assignment that I give to students in my positive psychology course. It's called the Have a Good Day assignment. And every day you write down, you journal about how your day was on a scale from 1 to 10. And I had Tracy do that assignment, and over a 3-week period of time, she never scored above a 5. I could hardly believe it. I had never really seen anything quite like that. And a short time later, I had her do it again, and the results were the same. She never scored above a 5. I kept working with her, and she kept losing her weight and, eating her vegetables. And I know that the way we eat in Bright Line Eating does change the brain, and it lifts depression for sure. There's research that shows that. And one day, I noticed she just sounded so much happier, and she was sending me emails saying, I feel pretty good. And so I had her do the assignment again, and sure enough, she was having 8s and 7s and 6s. And I personally have hung out with Tracy lately on days when she said that she had a 9 or a 10. Tracy is such an example of how happy, thin, and free. It's not just about being thin. It's also about being happy and free. Congratulations, Tracy. Our next transformation is Barbara Hughes. She started in March and did 2 boot camps. Her starting weight was 143 pounds, and now she weighs about 115 pounds. And she wrote in and said, it feels so much better to reach goals than to dream about reaching them. It feels good to be the right size again. I feel confident about my future weight. I'm in control now instead of my cravings, most days. How to lose weight is no longer a mystery. I have a legit plan to utilize for the rest of my life. Awesome, Barbara. Thanks for that. Our next transformation is Sharon Miller. She started in July of 2015. She started actually on her own. Her initial reason for joining Bright Line Eating was that her food consumption was out of control, especially when she went to go take care of her grandkids. And this is a picture of her with her grandkids. And after a few weeks of eating quote-unquote kid-friendly foods, she ballooned up to her highest weight of 149 pounds. The day she arrived home from that trip, she heard from a friend about Bright Line Eating, and she started on her own. And then she did a boot camp. So the second picture of her standing in the street with her grandkids, this is her after doing Bright Line Eating on her own for a little while. She lost 8 pounds, and that's her midway on her transformation. But then she did a boot camp, and she got serious. Today she weighs 119 pounds. She says, I sleep fabulously. My emotions are more even. I don't feel compulsions around food. I love the freedom of planning, committing, preparing, and eating my food, and then living my life. I'm just starting the journey of realizing old behavior patterns that have kept me stuck and really seeing how food was my drug of choice. I'm on day 162, and I am happy, thin, and free. Thank you, Bright Line Eating. This next transformation, she sent in her initials, HS. She started the October boot camp, and her starting weight was 137 pounds, looking quite lovely. But look at her now at 121.7 pounds. And she wrote in, not only have I blown past my goal weight, my initial goal weight was 128, and by the end of the boot camp I was 132, and today I'm 121.7. But I've finally addressed my food issues successfully after decades of struggle. This has shown me that I can accomplish anything in my life. I have never felt better, ever. I'm never hungry, and Bright Line Eating has opened so much more time for me. I used to be thinking about food, preparing food, or eating food all of the time. Now that I know what I'm going to eat and when, and I'm not snacking or thinking about food all day, I have so much more time. Bright Line Eating has truly simplified my life, and I'm excited to enrich my life in 2016, now that I feel like I finally have the time to do so. Congratulations. Now we go to Scott Steinhorst, who also is in the October 2015 boot camp. He's 5'9". He started at 163 pounds, and now he weighs 147 pounds. He says, my energy is significantly higher and steady all day long, and I've switched to decaf coffee without any effort. My mood is elevated and feels solid. Before, I struggled on and off with depression, especially with seasonal affective disorder during this season. My brain fog has cleared. I'm more motivated. I feel like I'm more myself, and I have a growing sense of self-respect and integrity and hope. Oh, congratulations, Scott. Our last two transformations, we're going to start off with Karina Flora. This is Karina at 214.2 pounds. She was a size 18, and now her current weight is 131.8 pounds. Now she's a size 4 or 6, and she writes, I'm so active now. We disconnect our TV. Who's got time to watch that? And I have a ton of energy. I wake up almost every day at 5:30 a.m. to meditate and start my day, where before I barely wanted to get out of bed at 7 a.m. I feel so in control of my food and my life. I am so happy, thin and free. Now check this out. This is Karina Flora with her mother, Lorna Grant. They started the boot camp together at the same time. And this was back in February of 2015. They've done 2 boot camps together. Now they're Bright Lifers together. Lorna started at 184 pounds. Now she's 125 pounds. Lorna says, I now have come to accept that being a food addict is a fact of life. And it's my responsibility to manage it by being vigilant and consistently using the tools that have been found to work, which are the 4 bright lines. I learned that I have to be particularly careful when I feel any kind of anxiety, insecurity, or a higher level of stress than I'm comfortable with. I now take pride in my appearance. Yeah, you do. Look at these ladies in their dresses. I now take pride in my appearance, and I'm having fun buying the kind of clothes that reflect my true personality instead of what makes for a good cover-up. I also feel a deep sense of compassion for those newer on the path, and I want to encourage them all not to give up no matter what challenges they may face. I believe all challenges are in service of a deeper understanding that will take us all the way to happy, thin, and free. Karina and Lorna, you are just gorgeous examples of a mother-daughter duo being unstoppable, and our final shot here is of Karina Flora and her muscles that ironically she didn't get from working out. She got them from Bright Line Eating. That's just purely following the Bright Line Eating food plan. Oh, Karina, you are so unstoppable.
Wasn't that amazing? Oh my goodness. Those 16 people collectively lost 852 pounds doing Bright Line Eating. And the more amazing thing is that in 2015, Bright Line Eating in the boot camps alone helped people collectively lose 43,000 pounds. So you just saw 852 pounds and what that looks like in people's lives. Imagine that multiplied up to 43,000 pounds. We are changing the world here at Bright Line Eating, one person at a time, 1 pound at a time. It's not just about the weight. It's about knees not aching. It's about lives being lived again. It's about people's smiles radiating from their faces. Everything that you just saw, it just speaks to what we're about here at Bright Line Eating. I'm so proud of those 16 people and of all the people behind them who have had their transformations. 43,000 pounds worth of transformations in 2015. So I hope you enjoyed our first ever Goal Weight Gallery installment. We'll have another one for you in a few months. And until then, lots of love.